Well, it has been a very, very long time since we have done any type of search and recovery videos for you guys. We've done plenty of commercial dives, in water tanks and intake systems, stuff like that, but it's been a very long time since we went out and did, say, a search and recovery dive. Well, today we're going to go out and we're going to record a search and hopefully a recovery for you, but this time it's going to be very unique in the sense that we're not looking for a cell phone, we're not looking for fishing rods or something of that. We're actually going out to look for a body. Yes, I said that, a body. And we're going to be taking you guys along with us. We're going to show you how we conduct the search and what we must do to, once we locate the body, how we're actually going to bring it up. What's up, guys? It's Brian again from Lake Hickory Scuba and Marine. If you are new to our channel, do me a huge favor. Hit this little subscribe button right here and ding that little bell as well. That way you guys are going to be notified every time we upload new content. Now, as I stated in the teaser, we're headed out to do a search and recovery. And yes, this is a body search and recovery. This is something that we don't really put a lot on our channel for multiple reasons. Obviously, when there's a victim who has went under, we don't want to air that here on YouTube. We don't want you guys seeing this victim under the water out of respect for the victim, out of respect for the victim's family. And typically, if it's a drowning or a murder investigation or something like that, we typically will not air it anyways, because it's usually going to be an open investigation, and we don't want to put that information out there until law enforcement clears it. However, in this particular video, I am going to be putting it out there. I'm going to show you how I'm going to conduct the search. I'm going to show you, once I locate the body underwater, how I'm going to be bringing it up and all of that. The difference between this search and recovery and what a normal search and recovery would be, it's not a human body. We actually received a call from a local hunter who pretty much shot a deer of a lifetime, according to him, and said when the deer ran off, it ran into a pond, attempted to swim across, and then it went under. Supposedly he's got video of it, so we're going to be watching the video so that we can get a last scene point. He says the pond's not very big, and the pond is actually crystal clear, according to him, so we shouldn't have any trouble locating the deer itself, but hopefully we can find it, bring it up, get to hunter his harvest, and everybody have a good day with it. But I've got about another 20-25 minute car ride here, or truck ride, to get to him, and then we'll pick it up once we get there and see how the search is going to go. Alright, guys, let me introduce you to Mr. Matt Merritt. Matt Merritt is a local entertainer here in our area, and he travels all over the world as a rodeo clown, of all things. And Matt is a super cool dude. I'm going to link all of his social media information down in the description below. But Matt, like I said, he's an entertainer. He's been all over TV. He's been all over social media, and he's a super cool dude. And Matt has called us out today to look for a deer that he shot, and it ran and jumped into a pond, and unfortunately it went under. So he's called us out. He's going to take us out to the dive site really quick. This is part of the farm that he hunts, or part of the lease that he's got, and he's going to take us down to the pond, tell us a little bit more about the story about how the deer went under, and then kind of go from there and see if we can locate this deer that he's hoping to harvest.
I just shot this huge buck and he went in the water. Holy crap. He's going under. Oh no. Oh no. He just died underwater. I don't know what to do. Holy crap. I got a boat at home. I guess I'll go get it.
So anytime I do a search and recovery dive like this, I try to make this dive educational for everybody watching, and that includes the client themselves. So what I'm doing here is just kind of explaining to the client the equipment that we use. Now, Mr. Matt did jump into the water immediately to try to get his deer out of the water. Unfortunately, the water was extremely cold, especially this time of the year, and the water was too deep for him to just kind of reach down and grab it. I think it's around 11-12 feet where the deer went down at, so I'm just kind of explaining to him what I'm wearing here, why we choose dry suits over wetsuits or vice versa at different times, and that way he knows a little bit more about diving. So like I said, I really enjoy educating people on what we're doing. Also kind of explaining the equipment here, and one of the final things that I do is I go over emergency protocols, because I am doing this in a solo situation. I don't have a buddy here with me, and so I'm kind of explaining some emergency procedures to him, talking about the weights and all that, and that way if something happens to me, he knows what to tell emergency crews or whatnot, because once again, I don't have a backup diver here. I don't have a buddy with me, and I want to make sure that not only am I being safe, but there's emergency protocols put into place just in case something was to happen to me. But once we get all that, I'm going to go ahead and get geared up, jump in, and I am going to be walking you through this search. There's going to be 3 stages to this search. The first stage is, of course, just going to be an orientation to what's on the bottom. The second stage is going to be determining what type of search pattern that I'm going to do, and then the third stage will actually be going out and conducting the search to hopefully locate Mr. Matt's trophy deer here. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and jump right into the search and recovery here. The very first thing I've got to do is make a proper entry, and I'm just going to use this little game trail. It kind of opens up right down in the pond. Never been here before, don't know anything about the bottom, don't know if there's any hazards, so I'm just going to take my time, get down in here. I'm going to make sure I don't rip my suit on any briars or anything like that, and I just want to do a good thorough gear check. Once again, once I'm in the water, I don't have a buddy here. This is a solo situation, so I just want to make sure that I'm being safe and that I can operate or do the search very efficiently. Once I'm in there though, I'm going to go ahead and stay at the surface, and I'm just going to swim into the generalized area, and I'm using Matt as my reference. So obviously Matt was the eyewitness here. He could tell me where the deer was when it went down, so I'm just swimming across the surface as if I was that deer, and I'm just going to have Matt tell me when to stop, and that's going to be my initial drop point that I'm going to go down. Now, my very first time going down here, my goal is obviously to ultimately find the deer, but it's also to inspect the bottom. I want to see if there's any hazards. I want to see what the depth is. I want to see what the bottom contour is. I want to see what the composition is, just to give me a better understanding of how I'm going to conduct this search. Now, yes, obviously I am searching while I'm down there, but there's those other things that we talked about that is really important to me at this point in time. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just looking at the bottom, looking to see how the contour is it sloping, see what the depth is, see if there's any hazards. Maybe if I do a line search or something like that, I need to know if there's any hazards. And then, of course, I can come back up, reset, and what I'm going to do is just have him swim me back over. Now, there is a current here. I do want to state that there is a little bit of a current, and anytime you're searching in a current, it's better if you start downstream and start searching upstream with the current facing you. That way, if you do stir up the bottom, that current is simply just going to push everything behind you, and you'll actually have some pretty clear, or have better clarity for your search. Now here, unfortunately, the camera is actually seeing more than what I was seeing, so the camera quality is a little bit better than what my eyes are allowing me to see underwater. But I'm just doing basically sweeps with my arm. So I'm swimming upstream, and you can kind of see the currents pushing that turbidity behind me. And I'm just sweeping. And if I feel something, I want to stop. That's another reason I'm not wearing any gloves here. I want to make sure I got good dexterity so I can tell what it is that I'm looking for. And if I do feel something, I'll just kind of, move my hands around it, see, does that feel like an antler? Does it feel like a leg or a body or something like that? And then, of course, after I sweep to the right, I'm going to sweep to the left with my left arm, and then I'll move a few feet forward. Now, this deer is roughly the size of a human, so let's say that's a 5-foot search radius in all directions. So you can actually do this with both your arms and your legs. So sweep with your right arm, sweep with your left arm, sweep with your right leg, sweep with your left leg, and then move 5 feet and then do the same thing. So I'm just swimming up current, sweeping, and I'm trying to stay at a consistent depth. Now, based off the footage that Matt showed me of the deer actually going under, I know that it wasn't even halfway across the pond here. So I'm trying to stay at that same depth. I'm actually on a slight incline. I'm not even in the center yet. But once I go up a certain distance, then I'm going to reset and do a slightly different search pattern than what I'm doing here. So basically, I'm just swimming in a straight line. I'm guesstimating my distance, sweeping left, sweeping right, both of my arms and legs, and then move forward. And if I don't become successful here, then I'm going to change my tactics. Now, given the fact that this pond is very, very small, it doesn't take very long to cross the pond, and considering it's pretty well flat except for on the edges, a jack stay search here would be absolutely perfect, and you can do a jack stay with or without a line. Now, I'm going to be doing a jack stay here without a line. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on one side, and I'm just going to swim across to the other side in a straight line. Since this pond's not very wide, it only takes probably 10 or 15 kick cycles and you're clear across the pond. Then I'll move over a few feet and swim back across, and I'm just going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until obviously I come across the deer itself. Now, as you can tell here, I am moving a little bit faster. When you're looking for larger objects compared to smaller objects, you can search a very large area very fast, because obviously I know what it's going to feel like when I come across that deer there. So now we're going to go down one more time here. We're going to conduct that jack stay, and you'll see pretty quickly how fast I find this. So we drop down in the generalized area again. I'm going to swim straight across, move 5 feet, swim straight across, move 5 feet, so forth and so on. And you'll see on this last little sweep right here, I come across it pretty quick. And it kind of startled me a little bit when I found it. I knew I was looking for it. I knew what it was going to be like when I found it. But it did kind of startle me, because all of a sudden it goes from what you're seeing on the screen to all of a sudden, hey, there is a deer right there. And, of course, I ran right smack into its rack to begin with. So I see the rack. I put my hand on it, and then I realized, oh, okay, so it's a deer. Now, when I brought this deer up, I just swim it to the surface. The deer's not that heavy in the water, thanks to Archimedes' principle, and it's no different than just bringing, say, a person up, say, in a rescue scenario or anything like that. So I didn't really have to use a lift bag to bring this deer up. Now that I've got it to the surface, I can just simply swim it over to the edge. Matt can grab a hold of it. He can pull it up out of the water, and then, of course, I can get out of the water, get paid for the day, and then go on about my business. Well, there you go, guys. As you can see, it was a very successful search and recovery, and thankfully it was just a deer. It wasn't a human victim that I was going after, although we do that for a living. That's kind of how I make a living. Thankfully, it was not a human in this case. It was just a deer. I was glad that I was able to help Matt out. Just like Matt, I too am an outdoorsman. I grew up hunting and fishing. Even this year alone, I've had a very successful season this year. I've almost tagged out, and so I get it. We never want to see an animal suffer, and of course, he wanted to get his harvest, so I'm glad he was able to call us, and I'm glad that we were able to help him harvest this animal. But anytime you go out doing a search and recovery, please make sure you're using the proper search patterns, the proper search techniques, and especially if you're doing it in a solo situation like I was, you want to make sure that you're being safe. The first time I went down to look for that, yes, I was searching, but I was also just getting a general idea of what the bottom composition was like. And, you know, as far as determining the right search pattern, I needed to do that. I needed to know what was on the bottom. Are there any hazards? Are there any entanglements? Things like that. And then based off the bottom contour, I was able to choose a proper search pattern. Now, I ended up going with the jack stay here, so it ended up being very successful. It was a very short distance that I had to swim, and it was very shallow. It was like 11, maybe 12 feet deep, but I was very successful. And then, of course, once I did find the deer, I was able to swim it up. And I know somebody's going to ask, why didn't you use a lift bag? Why didn't you mark it like you normally would? Well, I could do that, but if you think about it, if you have taken the SSI Stress and Rescue, the Rescue Diver Program, we are taught how to swim up a diving victim from the bottom, and I just treated this like a diving victim. So I just secured it by the head and swam it up to the surface. So very easy to do. That deer didn't weigh much more than me, if even anything like me, so it was very easy to swim it up. I didn't need to bag it, didn't need to put a lift bag or anything like that on it. So yeah, but regardless of the fact, very successful search and recovery. Once again, glad I was able to help Matt and his family out, retrieve their harvest. But if you got any questions, comments, or concerns, drop me a comment down below and we'll discuss it. But let me know down in the comment section below, what is the weirdest thing that you've ever had to go out and do a search and recovery for? Because I'm really interested to find out what all you've had to do searches for in the future. But that's going to do it for today, guys. If you like this video, give me a big thumbs up. Let me know down in the comment section what you thought about this search and recovery, and then we'll go from there. But until our next video, take care, God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.